Well, a happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. It's the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. If you are a dad, I hope that you had a great day with your kids, family, however you have decided to spend your Father's Day. First day of, is it first day of summer? Is it the first day of summer? I don't even remember. Summer solstice, all those good things. Appreciate you, and appreciate you for listening to this program, which has been going on for more than a little over 10 years now. Can you imagine that I've been talking about beer for 10 years? I still, it is a little surreal that I'm still talking about beer 10 years later, and that, I hope that I've given you, the listener, a little bit of insight into this world, a little bit of education, some fun interviews that I've had over the years with various people in the beer business. And I know we, primarily concentrate on beers here in the Northeast, in New York and New Jersey, but obviously there's a plethora of other beers, not only in the United States, but around the world. And, I hope that that you enjoy this program as much as I enjoy doing it. I've said this before. I mean, obviously 10 years of shows. But I have said there have been times where I get to a point where I go, is that it? Can I do any more about this? Can I just continue to talk every week for an hour about beer? And then something happens or something sparks my interest and picks it right back up again. That's pretty good when you're trying to come up with things to talk about and you don't want to do just the same old thing. So I appreciate that you listen to this program. Give you a little bit of insight into my life and things of that nature. And obviously, beer has a lot to, some of what to do with my life. Now, coming up in the final segment of the program, in about 30 minutes from now, Geoff Bado, he is from Zeds Beer in Marlton, New Jersey. He's going to join me on the program. They recently brewed a beer for the World Cup that uses 48 different hops. We'll talk to Geoff about that, how they came up with that. Obviously, 48 teams in the World Cup, but how do you mix 48 different hops in a beer and not have it be a hop bomb? We'll talk to Geoff about that and a lot more about how things are going down in South Jersey with his brewery coming up in about 30 minutes from now. But before we get into all the news, we'll change things up a little. And our good friend Gary Monterosso, who sent us his weekly segment, we're going to play that right now, and it's talking all about the style of cream ale. Take a listen.
I'm Gary Monterosso for the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast. Cream ale is one of America's earliest homegrown beer styles. Born in the mid-1800s as brewers tried to compete with the rising popularity of crisp German lagers. Light, smooth, and easy drinking, it blended ale techniques with lager-like cold fermenting, creating a uniquely American hybrid. Beers like Genesee Cream Ale kept the style alive through the big beer era, and its clean profile later inspired craft brewers to revisit and reinvent it. Today, cream ale stands as a reminder that American brewing innovation didn't start with craft beer. It's been part of the story all along.
All right, well, thank you, Gary. Do you remember your first Jenny? Do you remember your first Jenny Cream Ale? I mean, everybody does. I mean, I had a young woman I was dating. She was going to school in Binghamton, and I think it was right around 91, 92 where I had my first Jenny Cream Ale. And it's one of those beers where you try it and you're like, oh, this is different. This is different from what I've been drinking, because back then it was Bud Light, Coors Light, Shock Top, Ice House, that kind of stuff. And then you have a Jenny Cream Ale, and you go, oh, this is different. And you couldn't, you could get it upstate, but that was about it. I don't remember if they had Jenny Cream Ale in the 5 boroughs. And then every time I went back there, that's what you were searching for. You were searching for that Jenny Cream Ale because you wanted to recapture that taste. And, and Genesee Brewing has done some great stuff over the years, and but you always remember that first Jenny Cream Ale that you drank. So thank you, Gary. Appreciate that. A little blast from the past. Now, let's dive into some news here, because there's a couple of different things that are happening in New Jersey that I want to make your attention of. Wild Fern has announced that they're opening a second tap room in the heart of Lambertville, New Jersey. It's 6 Coryell Street along the DNR Canal. For almost 2 years, you've supported us in Frenchtown. We're incredibly grateful. Now we're looking forward to becoming part of another amazing community just downriver. Construction is underway. We'll be sharing the journey here over the coming months, from build-out updates and tank installations to the first beers brewed for Lambertville. Follow along as we bring this beautiful historic space to life. Opening date to be determined. So kudos on Wild Fern. I don't think I've had anything from Wild Fern yet, but kudos that they are opening a second location. And again, in New Jersey, even though you're opening a second space, you have to brew the beer there that you're serving. You can't take it in one place from, say, Frenchtown and bring it to Lambertville. You actually have to brew the beer in Lambertville, which I do think is kind of silly. I do think Jersey needs to loosen up that rule a little bit. Listen, if you're brewing the beer and transporting it from one location to another, it should not be a big deal, but whatever. I mean, but kudos to Wild Fern opening up a second location. And speaking of openings, Twin Souls Brewing, we talked about this a couple months ago. They have finally released a date as to when they will be opening their doors in Frankfort, New Jersey. It's 555 County Road 565, Frankfort, New Jersey. They will be open starting Thursday, June 25th at noon. We can't wait to welcome you all in to see what we've been working on. More details come soon. For now, save the date. So this coming Thursday, June 25th, they will be open at noon, finally, to start pouring beer. So kudos to Twin Souls. That's great. Northwest New Jersey getting a brewery, which is pretty cool. Actually, I'm going to change this up. I'm going to do that story last that I had listed here. A couple of quick stories real quick. Founders Brewing, they have made a bourbon. It's KBS Bourbon. This is now in the market, but only in their home state of Michigan. It's 750 milliliter bottles. The bourbon was finished in barrels that once contained Founders' famed barrel-aged KBS Imperial Stout. A real full-circle process, brings out notes of chocolate, coffee, and vanilla. But so now they have dived into the spirits world and have released their first bourbon, but you can only get it in Michigan. They just released it a couple of days ago. And the CDC says that drinking alcohol during pregnancy has been rising in recent years. CDC data shows groups like unmarried women and women in frequent distress are more likely to drink while pregnant. A survey found that over 15% of pregnant women reported drinking in the past 30 days, while nearly 5% reported binge drinking, 2% reported heavy drinking. The CDC's Morbidity and Mortality Weekly Report noted that among pregnant women who reported current drinking, over 33% reported binge drinking, and over 14% reported heavy drinking. The report notes the findings reinforce the importance of integrating behavioral health screening, treatment, and other support into prenatal care. Look, it does. I mean, honestly, when you're pregnant, you can't drink. It's pretty simple here. And I understand that people go through issues and, all kinds of other stuff, but think about not only yourself, but the life that is growing in your body. And now you're poisoning it by putting alcohol in there. It's not a smart move. Definitely not a smart move. We talk about drinking responsibly on this program. This is one of those times where it's not only drink responsibly, just don't do it. I know easier said than done, but don't do it. In 9 months, you'll be able to have another beer or a cocktail or whatever. Finally, the Bunnell Tavern. I hope I'm getting this name right. Henry Hank Bunnell is the 8th-generation owner of the Bunnell Tavern, which has sat between Clinton and Union Townships in New Jersey since before the Revolution in the late 1730s. Hank apparently is looking to restore the tavern as a restaurant and brewery. The place has sat dormant for a while, but he is trying to revive this place as sort of, think of Francis Tavern here in downtown Manhattan. That's the kind of feel that he wants to get from this. But he's got financial and regulatory hurdles to deal with. He's named the brewery component the Minuteman Brewery. It's a nod to 1775 when Hunterdon County men signed a document at a tavern table affirming their role as Minutemen dedicated to the Revolution. Minutemen were typically between ages 16 and 25. They trained regularly to be ready at a minute's notice in case of an enemy attack. Though he has obtained a brewer's license allowing malt-based production, liquor licenses in the area are limited and fully allocated. Obviously, there are other places in the county or the town that he's in that already have liquor licenses that are sold. The lack of a full tavern license presents a challenge for serving food and alcohol together. He says, I've had all the licenses up to $18.90. I have 100 of them, so here's my license. Happy to pay the back fees. No, I was told no. That's not going to work here. He believes the property's best use is a modernized tavern and brewery that preserves its historical character. He plans to begin with the brewery, using the historic structure for public space and adding a modern adjacent building for operations. It would be 4,000 to 5,000 square feet of combined brewery and bar space, along with potential museum exhibits, highlighting the site's role in the Revolution, the Underground Railroad, and local history. As I said, he wants to model it in part after Franz's Tavern in downtown Manhattan here. He said most of the approvals are in place. He has to do some infrastructure upgrades, utilities, and parking improvements. He hopes to reopen in the spring of next year. Again, whether or not he becomes a full tavern, I think the better thing to do here is to try and partner up with food trucks so you could serve food. Maybe not try to make it a tavern restaurant. Maybe just make it as a brewery. I like the idea. There's a lot of history. This is some cool stuff. But, and I wish him all the luck in the world, but there are some things he's not going to be able to overcome. And when you're talking licenses that could be, several $100,000, that's going to be a problem. Now, when we come back after a short break, we're going to have more news and notes from around the beer world. This is the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast, the Father's Day edition on AM 970, The Answer. Welcome back to the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970, The Answer. Hope everybody is doing well. Hope you had a great Father's Day, like I mentioned in the first segment. If you are a dad out there or you're celebrating your dad is still living, hope you had a great day with your pops. I am not happy because, and I'll tell you why, not because of Father's Day, but because there's expected rain in the forecast tomorrow, and I am supposed to be at PNC Bank Arts Center to see Sammy Hagar and Rick Springfield. And so if the rain dampens my concert, I will be very, very upset. So we'll see what happens. I'll give you a full report on next week's program. Coming up in just a bit, Geoff Bado from Zeds Beer in Marlton, New Jersey, going to join me. They recently brewed a beer for the World Cup, uses 48 different hops. We'll chat about that and how things are going at this South Jersey brewery, which is not too far from Philadelphia, the great state of Pennsylvania. We'll get into all of that in just about, I'd say about 15, 20 minutes from now. Keeping it in South Jersey for a moment, Brotherton Brewing in Atco getting set to reopen with new owners and a new head brewer. The official reopening date is this coming Saturday, June the 27th, from noon to 10 p.m. The owners, Eric and Stephanie, have hired Kyle Leving, who is relocating from South Carolina to join the team in Atco as their head brewer. Kyle previously worked with Wind and Waves Brewing and Common House Ale Works in the Charleston, South Carolina area. So again, this is this coming Saturday, June 27th, noon to 10 p.m., 2208 Atco Avenue in Atco, New Jersey. Remember, Brotherton, or the Oriente brothers, had closed it last year. They said their time had come. I guess they had been in operation 9-10 years, whatever it was, and they decided we had, I think it was Dan we had on the program at some point. Oh, no, Keith. No, it was Keith that we had on the program. And they had decided, all right, that's enough. They had moved their original brewery into a firehouse, and a really cool concept. And apparently, from what I've heard, the new owners are planning to use the second floor of the space as a overflow type of space, a private event space. So that's always a good thing. So kudos that Brotherton closed for a short period of time, but now going to reopen this coming Saturday, June 27th, from noon to 10 p.m. And speaking of the World Cup, in Boston, the fans are drinking so much beer that bars in the city actually ran out of beer. Scottish supporters emptied bars and liquor stores of several popular brands. Hennessy's bar in Boston said it tripled the St. Patrick's Day sales before it sold out on Sunday night. Other businesses, this was last Sunday night, other businesses are ordering more beer, adding staff for upcoming matches. English fans expected to flock to Boston this coming week for England's match against Ghana. So they drank so much that the bars ran out. That's pretty impressive when you think about it. Pretty impressive. God bless them. Hopefully they're all taking ride shares and drinking responsibly. Our good friends at both Stone and Coronado Brewing are doing something this coming Thursday, the 25th of June, that if you are in the San Diego area, you should take a part of because it's free. They are honored to work with their friends at Coronado Brewing, says Stone, on a collaboration beer worthy of a 30-year legacy. Both breweries turning 30 this year. Join us this Thursday, the 25th, from 6 to 9 p.m. at Liberty Station for a launch party celebrating Stone Coronado Magical Mythical Tour Double IPA. Try a fresh pint a day ahead of the official release, which obviously is Thursday the 25th. The official release is on the 26th. And vibe to some live music and get to know the brewers behind the collab. So this is at Stone's Liberty Station location, where they're going to have Stone Coronado Magical Mythical Tour Double IPA available on tap for you to try. Very cool. I wish I could get my hands on a can of this. The can art looks fantastic. I am sure this beer is going to be banging. And as I mentioned during Stone's post, I will be back out in San Diego during San Diego Beer Week in November. My wife and I are taking some time off, and we're heading out there for a couple of days. So I was told by my wife the entire trip cannot be about beer, but we are dedicating at least one day where it's all about me, and we're going to do beer. So I think the Friday is the day when we're out there that we're going to do beer. So just if the folks from Stone and Coronado are listening, I will be there, and I will be making visits to both locations. Hopefully the Escondido location is open, so I'd like to stop there for one final time. And, of course, at Coronado's headquarters, right in it's not Balboa Park. Where is it? It's not North Park either. It's right off the island of Coronado. I know where it is. I just don't remember the town. But, yes, I plan on being at both locations and looking forward to it. Some other stops, too, but hoping to hit both of those when we are out there in November. Now, Zipline Brewing, which is Nebraska's largest craft brewing company, took to social media on June 11 to announce that it closed its main brewing operations, taproom and beer lounge, effective immediately. The surprise shutdown left approximately 20 employees without jobs and brought an abrupt end to more than a decade of beer production. While the beer production side has completely ended, the Zipline Tap and Grill will remain open as the business transitions strictly into a restaurant-focused organization. According to a bunch of different media coverage, employees were locked out of their work accounts and terminated with no advance notice while a normal batch of beer was actively being brewed. That's never good. Founded in 2012, Zipline grew to become Nebraska's largest craft brewery by volume. Brand achieved significant critical acclaim in the beer world, multiple gold medals at the World Beer Cup and Great American Beer Festival. For its signature Copper Alt Lager, they were also highly visible for creating Dear Old Nebraska Brew, a staple beverage sold at Memorial Stadium during Nebraska Huskers football games. In 2023, the brewery was acquired by Acres Equipment Solutions. It's a major regional John Deere dealership. The ownership transfer coincided with Zipline shutting down its original Lincoln tap room under the premise of expanding brewing operations. But obviously, that never happened. And when you're doing that much volume of beer, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but obviously if you're Nebraska's largest craft brewery and you're supplying beer to the Huskers and you're doing all of these different things, and then you abruptly shut down with no notice and you had beer in the tanks in active production, that tells me you are not running your business effectively. I mean, that's just that's the bottom line. That sounds to me like a negotiation with the banks, a negotiation with somebody to try and get stuff done, and you couldn't get it done. And so rather than be proactive and inform your employees that, look, things are happening, they're moving very fast, we might not be able to employ you anymore, they put 20 people out of work with beer sitting in tanks ready to go. I'll be honest with you, that's not a cool thing, and I'm not happy about that. So, yeah, not a good deal. Not a good deal. I don't know. I mean, this business is crazy. I mean, and look, we're seeing a lot of businesses closing. It's not just beer. It's my God, in the last couple of days, I've read more warnings about businesses in New Jersey that are closing. And it's not just, it's banks, stocks, all kinds of businesses giving notices. We're laying off this many people. We're laying off that many people. We're laying off this many people. This is a tough job market, not only for people that are just coming out of college, unless you're specifically focusing on certain fields, teaching, and by teaching I mean math, science, those type of jobs, HVAC, plumbing, those type of jobs. You get out of a trade school, you're going to have a job because we need people, plumbers, HVAC people, car mechanics, things of that nature. But in other areas, it is very difficult for people to find a job. I mean, I read stories, people searching 2-3 years, can't find work, barely getting by. It's not a good situation. But this has been ongoing for a while. This is since the pandemic, maybe a little before the pandemic, we're seeing this. And it's been sort of an up and down kind of thing. One year where things are good, another year where things are dipping back up again, back down again. And in the beer world, it's no surprise. But you'd like to think that some of these impacts can be minimized. You hope. That's the hope, at least. I don't know. Finally, new research is out that is tying a lower legal blood alcohol limit to fewer alcohol-related crash deaths. Researchers from Colorado State University and UC Irvine School of Medicine compared Utah with 6 neighboring states after Utah passed its .05 limit in 2017. That means drivers can be legally over the limit after less alcohol than the .08 cutoff used in every other state. The study found Utah's alcohol-related deaths fell more than in those neighboring states, even as national alcohol-impaired crash deaths rose 25%. Utah is the only state in the country with a .05 drunk driving limit. It's basically .05 is basically, I think, for a person, a male of an average weight of 180 pounds, it's less than one drink, or just about one drink, and then you would be declared in Utah legally over the limit. So that tells me less people are driving, while drinking alcohol, more ride shares, and less impact, in getting into accidents. I think this is a good thing. Maybe it's time for other states to adopt this. Now, I know there'd be an outcry. People would be pissed beyond belief. But maybe it's a conversation that we need to have. Maybe. All right, when we come back after a short break, we're going to have more news and notes from around the beer world, including how the Brewers Association and Cider Con, the Craft Brewers Conference and Cider Con, are joining forces, and I'll tell you how. That's next on the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. Welcome back to the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. Hope you're doing well on this Father's Day. Boy, did you enjoy the Knick parade the other day? Now, I certainly, well, you know what? Kudos to Knicks fan. I'm not a Knick fan. I'm a Laker fan. Happy for them that they won. But I had to come in that morning for the parade. Our offices are in Lower Manhattan, literally right along the parade route. And I have to tell you, I'd never seen a bigger presence of police ever. It was like Times Square at midnight on New Year's Eve. I mean, that's heavy weapons teams, police officers, and the NYPD always does an amazing job. Kudos to them because they keep our city safe. So police officer was very nice, escorted me through the checkpoint, and I was able to get into my office without any problems whatsoever. So kudos to the NYPD. They did a fantastic job of protecting the citizens, keeping everybody safe, as I said. Coming up in just a little bit, Geoff Bado from Zeds Beer in Marlton, New Jersey will join me on the show. They recently brewed a beer that used 48 different hops for the World Cup. We'll chat about that, how he got started in making beer. And it's a similar story that most people have, but it's a great ending to it on how he continued on. So you want to take a listen in just a few minutes from now. All right, so before the break, I talked about how Cider Con and the Brewers Association are teaming up, and here's how they're teaming up. So the Brewers Association is holding their next Craft Brewers Conference in San Antonio, Texas, April 5th and 7th. The American Cider Association was supposed to have theirs in Chicago in February. They have decided to do the conferences in the same building at the same time. So you'll have access to the 2 events with just 1 ticket. Now, each event will have distinct and separate seminars and community spaces, but within 1 expo space, because then they only have 1 expo bill to pay. This is BA President and CEO Bart Watson telling Brewbound, which is really cool. So they've partnered up. They're sharing the costs, which is always a good thing. ACA Board President and Bauman Cider owner Christine Walter acknowledged that the ACA had been exploring alternative options for Cider Con due to the financial demands of hosting the event paired with members' expanded needs. The decision to co-locate with CBC was partially the result of a member survey following Cider Con 2026, which was held in Providence, Rhode Island in February. So again, this is a good deal for everybody, right? They're partnering together. They're sharing the cost of the building. You're going to have separate events. You're going to be able to do what you want from a cider perspective. You can be able to do what you want from a beer perspective. And I think that makes everyone very happy. And for any previous CiderCon attendees worried about the changes, there is one event that is remaining, Cider Share. It's CiderCon's opening event that allows cideries to pour and share products with attendees. That is here to stay. Walter said we're very protective of that event specifically because not only are you getting to go around and taste ciders from other places that you haven't been and meet cider makers that you haven't met, but it is such a vulnerable place of each of us bringing the thing that we're so proud of to share with our colleagues, and in a way that is just so great at fostering bonds and relationships. So good stuff. And a lot of people have said, what if brewers want to come to Cider Share? And she said, God, I hope they do. I hope they love what they find, and I hope that we make new friends there because it is a place where we as cider makers just expose our best selves. So kudos to CiderCon and the Brewers Association for teaming up for their events in one building in San Antonio next year. Now, this is interesting, and I knew that it was illegal in New Jersey, but I didn't realize that a bill was passing through the Assembly here. So an Assembly committee advanced legislation this past Monday that would make it possible to buy frozen desserts infused with alcohol in New Jersey. The bill is sponsored by Assembly members Roy Fryman and Heather Simmons. It cleared the Assembly Oversight, Reform, and Federal Relations Committee after a hearing on Monday, June 15th, with a vote of 4-1. The legislation would allow for frozen desserts with distilled alcohol, beer, wine, cider, or mead, with alcohol content of up to 5% to be made, sold, and distributed in New Jersey. Amendments announced during the hearing prohibit deceptive marketing of alcoholic frozen desserts and packaging that would in any way appeal to children. Now, obviously, these are only going to be sold, I would think, in liquor stores. Maybe a brewery would do something of a frozen concoction that has booze in it. But this is a good thing. This is another avenue where I think breweries can take advantage of. I'm going to dive a little bit more into the bill and see what the particulars are. But hopefully it gets out, advances to the Senate, they vote on it, and they move forward with this because I think this would be really cool. Some distribution news from Departed Souls. The statement from our good friend Brian Kulbacki. How else will we celebrate 11 years of getting our gluten-free beer out into the world? They're excited to announce they have partnered with Greenlight Distribution to get fresh, gluten-free craft beer down to the Sunshine State, which is Florida. Our first pallet of Ego is Not Your Amigo, and Good Bee IPA should be landing any minute now and is ready to get consumed by the masses. Whether you're a snowbird that longs for liquid home, one of Brian's old co-workers in the 305, or just someone looking for America's best gluten-free beer, this is for you. Let's go. So kudos to you, Brian, for getting your beer down to Florida. And Departed Souls always does a great job. I know their Nick beer sold out immediately, and it's a great little tap room. You should definitely check it out. You will not be disappointed. North Park is celebrating 10 years this coming Tuesday, June the 23rd at North Park's original tap room. They're still planning on celebrating their anniversary with a big NBPC 10 end-of-summer bash. More info is coming soon, but they're going to do a little shindig on their actual anniversary. So there's going to be an opening day tap list, throwing it back with a tap list from our opening day. Enjoy Ray Street, Panoramic, Buford Black, and Covington on draft and priced as they were when they opened back in 2016. That's Tuesday only. Limited Hop Fu merchandise drop. A very limited number of brand new Hop Fu shirts, embroidered hats, and enamel pins will be releasing only at the North Park Tap Room. There'll be an archive bottle sale. They're digging into the cellar, offering rarely seen barrel-aged anniversary stouts, before dying variants, and big collabs. All of the above running from noon to 10 p.m. on Tuesday, June 23rd, but they recommend that you arrive early. Make sure you can snag any bottles of merch you have your eye on. This, again, is at 3038 University Avenue in San Diego. I have not been to North Park. I've had plenty of North Park beers, but I've never actually been to North Park, so I plan on definitely going to North Park when I'm out in San Diego in November. Yes, I'm coming back. I'll be in San Diego in November for San Diego Craft Beer Week. Pabst Blue Ribbon. Listen to this. This is pretty wild. Actually, you know what? Let's hold off on the Pabst Blue Ribbon for a second. I want to stick with Jersey real quick. Two things from Jersey. First, Japa's Cerveceria. They are now distributing in New Jersey. Kudos to Beer International, Pua Alan and her crew for getting Japa's out in New Jersey. Cannot wait to drink some Japa's in New Jersey. I don't have to pick it up in New York. Now I can pick it up in New Jersey. And Two Ton Brewing. We talked about the sale of Two Ton Brewing a couple of months ago. Well, the reopening is happening. Megan Valenti is the owner-operator of Two Ton Brewing, 730 Federal Avenue in Kenilworth, New Jersey. As she said in her statement on Instagram, Two Ton has already built something special, a place where neighbors become friends, conversations happen over great craft beer, and community comes together. My goal is to honor everything people already love while bringing fresh energy, creativity, new experiences, and continued passion into this incredible space. Go to Instagram and read the rest of it. I'm tight on time, so I can't get into it completely. But she is saying her grand opening is July the 11th, which is a Saturday from 1 to 11 p.m. Entertainment, food, and fun for all. Starting on July 12th, the summer hours will be Monday through Thursday from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m., Friday from 2 to 10, Saturday from 1 to 10, and Sunday from 1 to 8. Thanks for your support. We begin this exciting new chapter. Come by, say hello, raise a glass, and become part of the Two Ton family. So I'm excited. I'm going to reach out to Megan. I'd like to get her on the Craft Beer Cast. Talk about the reimagining, who's brewing the beer now, what style, would it be the same stuff? I know that they sold the recipes and all that stuff. What is she going to do different? What is she keeping the same? Kudos to Megan and the fact that Two Ton is staying open, which is always good news. Finally, Pabst Blue Ribbon, celebrating the nation's 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. They are releasing a Pabst Blue Ribbon Freedom Pack. 10 25-ounce mega cans of PBR. And as they say, you're welcome, America. The company's official statement, we all know America is turning 250. Pabst Blue Ribbon is celebrating the only way it knows how, by serving up 250 ounces of beer and making an extremely official, deeply unserious, and completely self-appointed declaration that it is the most American beer, not because for 180 years it's been made for some Americans, but because it's always been made for every American. They don't have to release an American flag can to celebrate America's 250th. It's always been red, white, and blue. Pabst bestowed this great nation with its first six-pack in the 1940s. Cracking a can of Pabst Blue Ribbon, according to them, resembles the sound of a V8 engine. And of all the Blue Ribbons in America, Pabst is the one you think of first. Kudos to Pabst Blue Ribbon. When we come back after a short break, Geoff Bado from Zeds Beer in Marlton, New Jersey, will join me on the program for the final segment of the show. This is the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. Welcome back to the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. Final segment of the Craft Beer Cast, the Father's Day edition, although we're wrapping up Father's Day, right, in just about 20 minutes or so. But, listen, Father's Day. Do you need a manufactured holiday just to tell your dad that you love him? Of course not. My next guest, though, along with his partner, have built up a great brewery in South Jersey, Marlton, New Jersey, to be exact. They have 22 core beers that rotate in and off the taps, and they recently brewed a beer that uses 48 different hops, which is the amount of teams in the World Cup, which just started over a week ago. And for more info on the beers, you just head to drinkzeds.com. Let me welcome to the Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer for the first time, Geoff Bado. Geoff, welcome. How are you?
Doing well, Al. Thank you very much for having us on. Apologize in advance. My voice is a little off. Went to the World Cup game here in Philadelphia, and I'm still recovering from Monday.
I got you. So before we talk about that beer that you did make, 48 for 26, which is currently on tap and in cans at your brewery, how did you get started brewing beer? Was it something you always wanted to do, or did you just fall in love with it at some point in your life?
So I blame my wife on that, who's also my business partner. It's a story that you've probably heard in the past. She got me one of those Mr. Beer kits, decades ago. I made awful homebrew using it, and I tell you, there's a old homebrew shop here in South Jersey that closed a long time ago. Mm-hmm. I went in carrying this plastic barrel to them and said, this didn't work. I don't know what they did. And the person who was behind the register not only, didn't make fun of me, didn't say, well, that's because you're trying to do something with table sugar. His first question was, well, what were you trying to make?
Okay.
And at that point, he drew me in, created a recipe just for me off the top of his head. And I took that home, followed it completely different than the Mr. Beer kit. And I made passable beer. Wasn't great, right. But it was passable. But what that did was that created the spark. And so within a couple 3 years, I had a fermentation chamber. I switched solely to draft, started going into winning awards. I became a certified beer judge, and it just kind of grew and grew. So when it was time for me to leave corporate America, my wife and I were like, yeah, no, let's do this. We've been doing this for a while. And so then we decided to go pro.
That's pretty good. That's a great story. The story always starts out the same. I got a home brewing kit as a gift from either my mom, my wife, a friend, this and that. The beer was terrible. That's always the start of the story. And then you learn and you figure out what it is that you want to do. And that's great that owner of the home brewing company took the time to say, hey, look, this is what you need to do. Try these things. And it sparked you, because some people would just be like, you know what, I'm just going to throw this out. I don't care. It was a novelty thing. Or maybe it was your wife trying to say, if I give him the beer kit, maybe if he doesn't make a good beer, maybe he just gives it up. But you know what? Lo and behold, you caught the fever and you decided to open up a business on the professional side of it. And now it's Drink Zeds beer, which is awesome. So that's a great story. Now let's talk about the beer. 48 for 26 refers to the teams in the World Cup. 48 different hops. How are you able to dial this in to hit 6.2% ABV and not have it become an overwhelming hop bomb?
So I'll tell you that one of the things, it is my brewery. I have an amazing brewer, James Holland. He's fantastic. Been with me for 5+ years. Just love the man to death.
Right.
He and I sat down, and the initial concept was, as soon as I told him that I wanted to do a beer with 48 hops, I think he walked out of the room. When he came back, and I said to him, no, there's 48 teams. I would like a hop from every country that is playing. Unfortunately, there's some teams in some countries that either don't grow hops or don't export their hops. So we kind of made sure that we at least had hops from each one of the continents, except for the poles. But what that did was that gave us better freedom to engineer the beer. So 48 hops was not just we're just going to toss a whole bunch of hops into the boil kettle and let it go. Mm-hmm. We looked at the hops that we were able to get and categorize them, just into, okay, these are aroma hops. These are hops for the whirlpool. These are bittering hops. So I believe that we ended up with 10 hop additions across the 60-minute boil, plus probably another half an hour or so whirlpool. And so, we placed those bittering hops where they were supposed to go so that you could engineer something that actually had layers of flavor if you drank it mindfully and actually paid attention to it.
Nice. We're talking with Geoff Bado, who, along with his partner Lori White, runs Zeds Beer, located in Marlton, New Jersey. 48 for 26. It's available now. Zeds will be open for all games during the tournament. For more information on their beers, just head over to drinkzeds.com. Of course, you can follow them all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. We're here on the Al Gattulo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970, The Answer. Geoff, clearly you wanted to take advantage of the fact that Philly is not too far away from Marlton. You want folks to discover the town. How is that going so far about a week into the tournament?
It's been great. I do tell people that I'm open on games that I want to watch. So this afternoon we're recording on a Wednesday. I want to watch Great Britain. And so basically, it's my brewery. I'm going to be watching this game anyway. Come on in, have a beer. If you tell me that you've got 40 people that are coming in to cheer on Saudi Arabia at 10 o'clock, I'll stay open. If not, I'm not that interested in that game, and so I'm going home.
All right. Well, that's fair enough. Now, is Marlton a big World Cup soccer town? I know that the state was giving permission to folks to stay open longer to take advantage of, obviously, the games being on later. Was the town receptive to you staying open for all the games?
They certainly have been. Just for clarity's sake, we're not staying open until 4 o'clock in the morning or anything like that. But Marlton has a very, very strong youth soccer culture. Mm-hmm. They've got the field over there, I think, has 8, maybe 10 tournament-sized pitches. They do a soccer tournament. It feels like it's every month. It probably isn't quite that much. But Marlton has certainly embraced Zeds with open arms.
Nice. We're talking with Geoff Bado, who, along with his partner Lori White, they run Zeds Beer, located in Marlton, New Jersey. 48 for $26, available now. Zeds will be open for most of the games during the tournament. Again, if you let them know, hey, listen, we're going to come in at 9 o'clock, and we've got a bunch of guys coming in to watch the tournament, they'll stay open a little bit later, but not till 4 in the morning. Just remember that. For more info on their beers, just head to drinkzeds.com. We're here on the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970, The Answer. So, Geoff, I was looking over your list of beers. It's an impressive list, something for everyone. IPAs to lagers, stouts, shandies, and everything in between. How do you keep track of all of it?
We make approachable craft beers. So whenever you come into Zeds, honestly, you're not going to get real big, we're not going to be making Russian Imperial stouts and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. We believe in approachable craft. So most of our beers are 5.5 and under. And quite honestly, most of them are 42 IBUs and lower. We're a small little brewery. I want you to come in. If you're going to drink an IPA, I've got 3 or 4 of them for you. I will also have something that whenever you're bringing your, mom, brother, significant other, and they're in the mood for a hard seltzer, our blueberry lemonade is amazing, and our peach mango has won awards. So it's sort of like we're bringing something for everyone. We do have 4 core beers, and then honestly, there's probably another 6 or 7 that rarely are off of the list.
Gotcha.
We do a lot of seasonals. We love our anniversary beer, which is a Meriton, and then fall into fall beers and then kind of move from there. So we will do those kind of changes, but for the most part, we'll have something that you'll enjoy.
So was that a conscious decision when you decided to open the brewery? I'm not going to make big boozy stouts and do a 14, 15% type of beer, because I like the fact that you're doing most of your beers at 5 and 6% and under, which is very much approachable. Was that a conscious decision to do that?
It really was. In my previous life, I've been a marketer for 20-plus years, and I love research, and I love understanding what the consumer is doing. So when we opened, we were a little bit ahead of the curve where we were doing that approachable craft. 10, 12 years ago, whenever we put the concept together, it really still was, I'm going to make an IPA that's going to knock your socks off and, be difficult to drink. We wanted to make approachable craft. We wanted to make beers that were easier to drink. Sometimes, someone will say, that's a beer my dad would drink. And I would say, yeah, and you should too. So that was a conscious decision, and it's been working out well for us. We'll celebrate our 9th year anniversary in September.
That's awesome. And, it seems to have panned out for you because, obviously, since the pandemic, people are making more lagers, they're making more approachable beers and stuff that's less a higher ABV, and you've already doing a lower ABV from the start of your brewery. That's pretty awesome. My guest has been Geoff Bado, who, along with his partner Lori White, run Zeds Beer, located in Marlton, New Jersey. 48 for $26, available now. Zeds will be open for most of the games during the tournament. For more info, head over to drinkzeds.com. Geoff, thanks so much for joining me tonight. I very much appreciate it.
I appreciate the time. Thank you much.
You got it. My thanks to everyone involved in the show, including my guest, Geoff Bado from Zeds Beer. 48 for $26 on sale now. And, of course, last but not least, the great Buddy Watson. I'm back Wednesday on the Joe Piscopo Show next week on AM 970 The Answer. I'll be off the next 2 days partying with Sammy Hagar down at PNC. This has been the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. Cheers, everybody.